Hi, everybody. So, today we're going to talk about a little about discouragement. It seems that that's been a big struggle here in this house. And so, we just wanted to kind of go over maybe how to deal with it. I know that lately uh, my bear's been struggling a lot. I know I've been struggling a lot too with the fact that things that we were hoping to get accomplished or the things that we were wanting to accomplish aren't coming to pass. And it's been a challenge to stay upbeat and keep our countenance from falling. It's not been easy to sit and wait, obviously. Today was especially difficult, and I was hoping that it wouldn't get there. I know that Mike is a lot more positive than I am. He's actually the optimist, and I'm the pessimist in this relationship. And so when I'm feeling down about something, he's always there to encourage me. He always tells me it's going to be all right, and he encourages me to just keep pushing forward. Today, I could tell that he wasn't himself. He wasn't that upbeat, um, happy-go-lucky kind of person that he typically is. He usually is very, very happy. He jokes. And even in this time, he's been very good to uh, keep it light so that we don't fall into that trap of um, sadness, or as it does happen to me from time to time, depression, or just the inability to cope. I don't mean that we don't have trust and we don't have faith in the Lord. Everyone uses the excuse that they're only human, and although that's true, there's still that thing. You have to believe, you have to trust that things are going to work out the way that God wants them to. It doesn't always happen the way we want them to, but for the most part, it is something that we know God is going to resolve in His timing. I know that you were struggling today, and I know that you were having a hard time dealing with the things that have been going on. Why don't you explain to me how you were feeling today?
You come to a Saturday, it's a couple days before people come back to work. Um, I've put my applications in a few different places, and it's just difficult when you look at what um, I have in regards to 16 years of spotless record, good work history, all those things. You just kind of, I guess, you get into your mind that it should be easy to find a job. Um,
Kind of like I did.
yeah, it should be that place where it's you turn in your application, and within a day or two you're getting phone calls or emails trying to set something up. And when that doesn't happen, especially on a Friday, and you go through the end of the day, and it's, well, I woke up this morning, it's Saturday, and you start thinking about the things that you have responsibilities for, the bills, and all those things, and being able to get that going so you can try to get back on track as soon as possible. And so it was difficult this morning, and you just sometimes get in that place that you're feeling like, okay, what's going on? Why haven't I found something um, relatively quickly? And I know I've started the process of getting my hazmat, getting my background check and all that done, and I'm sure that's going to be done probably early next week. And it's just the unfortunate part for me is just waiting. And as much as I enjoy being at home with my baby, it's just difficult when you know you're not making any money when you're at home. And I joked with her the other day that this is how it would be if we won the lotto, just without the money. It's been, up and down a little bit the last few days. It's just you try to stay positive. You try to focus on um, maybe some of the things that you can do around the house. As much as I enjoy making stuff, I hate not working. I enjoy being at home with her, but I also enjoy being able to provide for her. And when I'm sitting at home and nothing's happening, then that means I'm not providing. It was a little bit difficult this morning and just trying to get myself motivated to go out and, build some things, create some things. And so it was, it just wasn't an enjoyable time this morning.
Oh, you don't typically get depressed, Daddy. I mean, that doesn't usually happen to you. You're not always, well, I can't say that. I mean, I know that there have been times where you have struggled, but there's never been a time where I've seen you depressed. I don't understand some of your feelings.
Well, and I'm not going to say that I don't get depressed. I usually I'll get down and I try to, get out of it as quickly as I can. And because of the fact that it doesn't benefit us together if both of us are down and depressed, because then we just mope around the house and don't do anything. And that's the tough thing, is you don't need two of those people in the house. So I do my best to try to focus on what God's doing, focus on being just a little bit positive, to keep the morale up, so we don't get into that place of being twice as depressed as what we need to be. It makes it difficult when you're trying to focus on the bills and all those things that are coming up, and when you don't have a job, those are the things when you start to allow that doubt to creep in. And it's like, you go through the day and you start to get things done and starting to take care of some things, getting things handled. Usually by the end of the day, I'm back where I need to be. But it's just sometimes it's difficult because when she gets depressed, then I try to encourage her and I try to lift her up and I try to get her where she needs to be. And I think for her, I don't know if she knows how to do that for me, because usually she doesn't have to. If it's a moment where I'm down, she gets in there and just, says one thing, says two things, and then I'm good. I said before, I've always been that positive, optimistic person that just tries to encourage her.
Now, what can I do to help you? I mean, you already kind of know how to get me to come out of my shell. It's when I get in that place where I'm discouraged to the point of a full-blown depressive state, he comforts me by holding me and talking to me, and sometimes he even likes to be a jokester, but at least I know that he's there, and at least I know that he's trying to make me feel better about myself, better about our situation. I know that he will help me to work through that. But what can I do to help you? Like you said, I mean, you rarely ever, I mean, it hardly ever happens. So when it does, I notice it immediately. But sometimes I don't know what to do. I lean on him when we're in a situation to take us into prayer. I lean on him to make decisions, whatever that might be. But in this particular instance, sometimes I don't know what to do because it doesn't happen to him very often. So my only resolve today was to send him outside. But that was all I could think of to keep him from falling into something that I'm not accustomed to seeing. What would you say would be the best, not only for us, but maybe for someone else?
Well, I think, sometimes as a husband, as a father, and being the provider, if that's the case, it's it always helps when it's just encouragement. It always helps when um, your wife or your kids or whatever the case might be, they recognize something's different. They recognize something's off a little bit, but they encourage. Typically, the husband doesn't need it all the time. It's every once in a while that husband needs to be encouraged. That husband needs to be told, you know what, we're okay. We'll get through this. You're doing awesome. You're doing a great job, whatever the case might be for that situation. And it helps that bond in your marriage. And that kind of refreshes you and gets you going. It's kind of like a recharge, It's just helps you get lifted back up, and you're like, okay, all right, I'm good. Once in a while, when you get just the encouragement, or just you know what, I'm proud of you. A lot of times, Marty does do that for me. A lot of times, she'll be able to tell when I'm kind of down a little bit, and she'll come and hug me and just tell me, I love you, and we're okay. We're going to get through this. God's got this in the palm of his hands. And it was just today, it just seemed like it was a little bit worse for me, and a little bit, I guess you could say, kind of awkward for her, because she didn't know, or really, have a feeling of, okay, what can I really do to make him feel a lot better than what he's feeling right now?
Because I asked him, we were sitting here having breakfast this morning, and I said, babe, what's up? And he's like, I'm just dealing with the fact that I don't have a job. And I said, you can't do anything until you have the necessary elements to get the job that you desire. Well, I mean, he didn't take that very well, because it's true. He just needs a little thing, and it's not hard for him to get. And the fact that he had to wait made it that much more difficult. Sometimes you do have to be careful what you say when you're saying it. You have the best intentions. You're not trying to hurt your husband or your significant other. You're not trying to be, you're not trying to add to that discouragement. But the realist in me is thinking about the things that are happening in real time. What's happening right now? What situations are occurring that are causing what's happening in the present? And a lot of times he doesn't think like that. And it's not me wanting to crush his spirit or me wanting to bring him down. That's reality. Those are things that are real. That was all part of his discouragement. And I was just trying to help him to see, look, it's not as bad as you think. And once you get all of your ducks in a row, it's going to be fine. But sometimes that discouragement comes from waiting and being impatient. And that's kind of how we are. Just don't want to wait. We don't want to sit and chill, which is probably what we needed in the first place, because we're about ready to lift off, and you just don't know what kind of energy you're going to need or what kind of endurance you're going to have to get to that next place. And so it's very important that we're both encouraging each other in love, because we both need it. I know I need it when I'm feeling inadequate, or when I'm feeling like I'm not doing all that I can to help in any situation. It doesn't have to be this particular one. It can be anything in our marriage. And for him, which it doesn't happen all the time because he's just so, let's go, let's do it, let's, you know, see what's on the other side, and I'm just sitting here with, almost scared out of my mind, trying to figure out how I'm going to move through this. And when he has downtime, or when he is having a time of inadequacy, I try to be loving, because that's all I can do. In order for him to have peace of mind, it was critical that I just kick him out of the house. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but it helped. It helped him to feel better. And I think there's another thing that I need to mention here. And maybe there is a little bit of a resistance, or maybe there's a little bit of a challenge there. It's not meant to be taken, what's the word I'm looking for? I know, right? Personal way. It's not, I can totally cut that part out of the video. It doesn't need to be taken personally. That's where we need to kind of let our guard down. You don't need to start a fight because one of you just kind of got a little, dagger or a little hairy eyeball when you were trying to be encouraging, and need to be mindful of that.
So you have to remind yourself that your wife's not there trying to degrade you or bring you down or make you feel less than what you do already. It's a matter of, she might bring information to you that maybe you're losing sight of, and I think too is sometimes you have to have, I guess, planning out how you can encourage your spouse, because it's true, when you're in I guess you could say a delicate state or a volatile state, sometimes it can be the smallest words, the smallest actions that could set your spouse off. So it is something that you have to be mindful of when you're talking with your spouse, especially when they're in that place. You want to make sure that you're encouraging. You want to make sure that you're not treading on some area that is going to make your spouse even more upset or even more depressed, or having them feel like you're coming down on them rather than trying to encourage them. So when it is that opportunity for you to sit down with your spouse and talk with them, you have to have a plan. It can start a major argument, major fight in the house if you come at that person with the wrong vocabulary. You're thinking you're encouraging them, but they're not going to take it that way just because of your word selection. Sometimes less is more. Sometimes actions are better than words. Giving somebody a hug, giving that person a kiss, just to help them break down a little bit. Because usually when you're depressed, you kind of build up that wall. If you don't know what it's about, just, what, honey, I don't know what you're going through right now. I don't know what's bringing you down, but just know that I'm here if you want to talk. But I love you.
Really, that's sometimes all that it takes. Mm-hmm. It doesn't necessarily need to be this drawn out discussion. There's been a lot of times when I've felt very discouraged, that he has taken the opportunity to get me out of the house. And we didn't have to spend any money. We would just go for a walk, or we would just do some window shopping at the mall. Or Colorado's a beautiful state. There's lots to see here. So, a trip on the A line, or whatever. It didn't need to be anything extravagant. It just was something to get us out of the house, something to get us thinking about something else, get us recharged and feeling better about how we're going to move forward. I guess we did all right today. We've had a lot of challenges like these. There has been a lot of discouragement, but for the most part, it hasn't been like this. That the next opportunity we have is definitely going to be handled a little bit differently.
It is a matter of being in it together, encouraging each other. Sometimes it might be 4 out of 5 days that you're being the encourager. And it might be one day that you maybe need encouragement. So are you willing to be that encouragement that you need to be for your wife? Lifting her up, treating her like the queen, the princess that she is. Are you treating her that way? Are you lifting her up? Are you encouraging her? Unfortunately, yes, there are times she might wake up in a funk, and she might wake up just in a mood, and I'll ask her, is everything okay? And sometimes she just tells me, I'm just in a bad place today. You kind of reflect back on the previous day and you go, okay, did I do something wrong? Did I say something wrong that I didn't mean? But you replay those things in your head, and it's to that place where it's not you. It's just something that happens within some people. A lot of times it's not personal. It's not against you. It's just maybe the situation, maybe the circumstances might get to one of you guys more than it does the other.
It's important too to communicate the fact that when one or the other is discouraged and one or the other is having to deal with something, that it's made clear that it has nothing to do with one or the other. It doesn't have anything to do with something that happened yesterday or last week or even that morning, that afternoon. So that part of it needs to be stated up front, so that there isn't any offense and there isn't anyone feeling offended. I know I'm big on prayer, and I know I'm big on looking to the Lord, and I know a lot of times when I feel alone and discouraged, I am talking to God all day long. I try to get Him there.
Well, I think sometimes as a man, sometimes you get in that place of, we're fixers. We try to fix everything. And so in your mindset, you're trying to think of how can you get it fixed. The majority of the time, even when I go out and I'm working and creating something or building something, it's time with the Lord. It's time, to have that opportunity to just get yourself out there in front of God and just to ask Him questions and ask Him to give you a peace, give you a comfort.
Anything else, honey?
No, I think it's all good.
All right, you guys, thanks for sitting with us again. Just going over married life. Peace out.
Peace.